everybody, Josh the RV Nerd out here in chilly, windy Iowa today. I knew Iowa was famous for its cornfields, and it's very similar to southern Michigan where I'm from. I was not aware of the insane gusty winds that they get around here. So as we're outside today, if the audio gets a little choppy every now and then, there's not a whole lot I can do about that. I do apologize. But what we're looking at today is a Freelander 26DS. And I wanted to grab this one because I think it does a really good job of blending a short, easy driving experience with a nice, open living experience when you get to your destination, because the DS, I suppose, means dual slide. You've got a private rear bedroom slide and a living room sofa slide, which really does a great job opening this thing up. What really shocked me on this one was the fact that the kitchen doesn't suck. A lot of times when you're in these smaller Cs, the kitchen just really gets neglected pretty hard. This one's not too bad. This could be, I could definitely see this being a fun little couples runaround camper, but there's enough space in here and enough storage. I think this could be a fun small family getaway kind of coach too. 7,500 pound tow rating, 800 pound overhead bunk rating, rear and side view cameras, ride and handling package. There's some really nice stuff going on with this thing here. I'm glad I got a chance to take a look at it. Now there's a couple little glitches, like the way that they've done their ceiling fans doesn't exactly make the most sense to me. But that doesn't mean that it's bad. It just means that that's something I noticed. And I'm going to kind of point those things out as we go and try to give you a fair look at this thing through my eyes. And if I get it right or get it wrong, I'd like you to let me know and tell me what you like about this one and tell me what you change given the opportunity. And like I said, what's nice about this one, it's a small driving size. It doesn't feel like you're driving a big box truck or something like that. It just feels a little bit more like driving maybe just a big van or something like that, like a church bus, basically. Kind of what this is going to feel like driving. It's a little different, sure, but it's not bad. We're going to talk more about some ride and handling things when we go outside. Most motorhomes are carpetless. They have ventless flooring. That's some pretty standard stuff, but I still like to point that out. The seatbelt situation that we have going on over here. This is an RV that could sleep, 4, maybe 5 people, depending on how you stack them up. And it has seat belts for 6. And speaking of seat belts, something I'm trying to be very conscious of is, does it have a car seat anchor? And this one does. Now, you might need, like, an extension strap to be able to get to that thing right there. But it's nice to know that you do have a spot here that you could safely mount a car seat. Not every motorhome has that. Like, if you're going to take a family camping trip and you got a baby, you got to pay attention to that kind of stuff. Also, right over here by the door, we're going to see some switches also come in the other direction, but our Bigfoot auto leveling controls are right there. That's another thing that a smaller Class C like this just does not always have. Now, the viewing on this, what I really like about this floor plan is that it gives us good windows on both sides of the coach. And the reason I like that is because your RVing experience is very different in a motorhome versus a towable RV, and here's what I mean. So with a towable RV, your vacation begins after you've packed, after you've hitched up, after you've hauled it there, after you've parked it, unhooked it, set it, leveled it, opened up the slides. Motorhomes are a little different that way. With a motorhome, your vacation begins the moment you turn the key. And some of my best memories as a kid where very briefly my family moved from Michigan to Georgia, and some of my favorite memories from that summer were sitting beside my dad in a U-Haul truck traveling down the interstate. And, being able, all the things that I got to see, all the things we got to experience on that trip, stick with me today. And similarly, that's how camping trips kind of affect me. And, if you're just running around alone or solo, maybe the big windows on the side don't matter, but if you are taking a little bit of a family trip, or if you're back here while somebody's up front driving, that view, that visibility, I'm telling you, you're never going to forget it. Now, I mentioned sleeping capacity. I said this has between 4 to 5 sleeping, so, small family could possibly work up here. One of the things that's really benefiting that is up front here, if you got a couple small kids or maybe one big kid, this is an 800-pound rated overhead bunk. That is an area that Freelander has bulked up on significantly from the past. In the past, I saw that rated for as little as, say, like 350 pounds. So they have seriously reinforced their upper end structure. And what I like about that, like, the weight rating feels good, But I've been doing this for a long time, and looking at used Class C RVs of an older generation, there was almost always some kind of front corner leak because the front didn't have enough structural support, and when it got blasted by headwinds, it would shake, rattle, and roll, and it would end up splitting a seam somewhere. The heavier structure should help eliminate a great deal of that. Now, obviously, you always want to take care of your TLC elements. You got the Uncle Gary, don't roll out of bed because you're drunk. Safety gate there, works pretty good for kiddos as well. There is a full privacy like curtain that you can put up to close off the cab area, by the way. They're including handy ladder, so you don't got to throw out your rotator cuff to throw the kids up there. And then the dinette over here. There's a couple cool things, like this dinette lounge thing. It can fold down into a sleeper, but they thought ahead a little bit. Do you see these little tabs right here? This is an extra little spacer cushion that converts it down into dinette mode, but it can hook that cushion to that cushion to that cushion so that if you roll over or shift at night, it doesn't fall on the floor and leave you sleeping all kinds of crazy uncomfortable. That is simple, but it's so smart. But did you catch how I referred to this as a dinette or lounge? Nothing says you have to leave that table there. This actually has almost like a classic, it's called gaucho style, little slide out right there, extra little slide open bench, and then there's a little removable cushion that you can pull out of the way. So if you would rather have this just be a large open living room, well, you can do that too. And that plays very nicely as a lounge when we start looking at that forward overhead, cab TV. A lot of people ask, why do they still put the TVs in that overhead cab area? Everybody has to kind of turn their heads for it. And yeah, the answer is you still kind of definitely do. But that TV can swing around and pivot, a couple different directions so that depending on where you're sitting and how many people you have in here, it's not too terribly bad. Now, a lot of times a smaller Class C like this, it isn't designed with the idea that you're going to go somewhere and sit inside of it and use it like a house and watch a ton of TV in it. The TV is just kind of there to help you get through to the next day sometimes or get through a rainy day. So the TV is really a secondary afterthought on this one, in my opinion, but it's effective enough to serve its goals. Up top here, you've got the bigger vent fan. If you're, you got your big side windows open over those double lounges, get some sweet airflow going over here on this thing. And then down front, we're on an E450 chassis, Ford chassis. There's some, front sumo spring shock absorbers. There's a heavy-duty rear stabilizer bar, an extra helper spring in the back to give this thing some pretty decent ride and handling. And it is really nice to see more manufacturers starting to get on board with that, even in a Class C market versus a big fancy Class A. And this thing is cool, man. In that early floor plan and a flash footage, when that thing started sliding open, I'm like, is there a coffee tray built into the stereo? And then I realized, no, dummy, that's our entertainment system as well as the monitor for our backup and side view cameras. So you flick on your blinkers and it'll make sure that your blind spots are clear. Heated power side mirrors, by the way. So, if you wake up in the morning and it's frosty, you can get those things clear so you can, merge onto the road safely and you don't gotta be like, Jesus, take the wheel, and just pray nobody's there. So, I'm at our Eldridge, Iowa location filming this today, though we have Freelanders at multiple spots. I'll leave you a link in the video description to check for pricing and availability, by the way. But what I'm getting at is, not everybody in the Bishop's organization is familiar with what I do or how I do it, because they have jobs that they're doing every day. They don't have time to just sit there and watch me. I don't blame them. So what I'm about to do, I'm pretty sure the manager's going to want to know what I'm doing. But, horn check! I am right next to the sales office, too. That is one thing that I really like about the E450 chassis. It's got one of them good angry horns, like, you cut me off and I want you to know how mad I am about this. It's not so good, though, like, if you're just driving past your friend Tina's house, you're like, hey, Tina, honk, honk! Something else I don't want to miss on here, also, is the fact that this is one of those updated Class C cabs that does have the spin-around seating. So when you reach your destination, your cab isn't lost living space, which historically was always a major shift between the
Class C and Class A markets, and even the Class B markets. Class C's just for whatever reason, we're like the one segment of the RV industry that where the seats just didn't tend to spin around. Now this is a small space, and at a glance, you look at it, say it's got a small kitchen, but I'm actually really impressed with all of the storage that they packed into this thing. They did a very good job in a small space, because when you walk in, it feels like a nice big open living room, but the fact is, you can pack pretty heavy for a long trip in here. And I see where they've done some things to help keep the cabinets from rattling a little bit, which is important in a motorhome versus a trailer. In a trailer, you don't care if the cabinets make noise, you're not back there to hear it. In a motorhome, you're right on top of it. So things like the extra strut to dampen movement, and then a magnet holdback to keep it from, you know, doing that. It's just less inclined to do it. This is all pocket screw kit. There's there's somebody outside of the windshield like giving me the like, hey, you okay sign? You know, like, yes, no, I'm fine. I just like to honk the horn on motorhomes. I'm so sorry. I'll have to go explain to them what I'm doing in here. Okay, up top here, we have a vent, but it's not a powered vent. Whereas over here, we also don't have a powered vent. I would have liked to have seen at least one of those be a powered vent, but remember that behind us, we do have that big XL vent fan kind of above the cab area, but I would really like a heat exhausting vent directly above the cooking space there. I feel that's a small miss, and I don't mind pointing out the good with the bad when I make my videos. Hope you appreciate that. Oh, that's a convection microwave oven, and that's actually one of the things I think is cool about this. They're giving us a convection microwave as well as a traditional oven. So if you're in the parks, you know, you got two ways to make cookies and biscuits. Ooh, I forgot this one. Nice, nice. Now that, in the brochures, I feel they do themselves a disservice. They list this as a residential refrigerator. That is a 12-volt DC compressor fridge. It is, I suppose, in point of technicality, a variety of residential fridge because it's an active compressor style, tends to be the designation, but it's 12-volt powered, not 110. And look at the drawers down to the floor over there. But the thing is, there's a huge chunk of storage over here we haven't even got to yet. And storage over here above that lounge. Now, just to help give you some sizing references, this RV includes a little kind of miniature outdoor table-ish sort of thing that we might see again in a minute if I remember to set it up. Hopefully I don't forget since I brought it in here. But that's a big chunk of space up there. Over here though, this is interesting because this right here is really kind of like your kitchen pantry, and it's pretty decent size given the size of the RV. Remember I said there's other switches over here by the door. That would be things like our awning switch and our outside lights or our entry light. And I like that you can just reach inside the door and activate those without needing to climb in and out of the coach. That makes a lot of sense. So what's interesting about this is it's a sliding bedroom, but they kind of put the closet a little bit out here in the hallway, which seems a little odd, but it's a small coach and they had to get a little bit creative. But the thing is, we're still not done with the storage for that bedroom area. Well, yes and no. I don't want to misrepresent this. That's not an extra closet. That's the same big closet. You can get to it from two areas. I almost wonder if that shouldn't have a partition, kind of, you know, one for this side of that slider privacy door and one for the other side. What do you think about that? So that there would be clearly defined separated bedroom storage versus kind of kitchen, closet, hallway. What, I mean, does that make sense? Ooh. You know, they did another one of these big fans here. Again, I really feel like some kind of ceiling vent fan in that kitchen vent would have been really nice. But speaking of these vents, you have options. They give you a choice on some air conditioning items depending on how you want to camp. No matter what, this is a 30 amp unit, although it has a 55 amp converter, which if you don't know what that means, like when you are hooked up to park power, any juice that you're not occupying, like with your ceiling lights or something like that, your 12-volt stuff, will roll over and be converted into juice for your battery. So standard, this is 30 amp, has a single 13.5 air conditioner. You can upgrade to a single 15,000 BTU, or you can upgrade to like a split 11K air system you lose that fan, but you gain a second air conditioner. So depending on where you're camping and how you're camping, you can outfit this a few different ways to really kind of tune it up for you. And which way would you want your coach? 1 air, 2 air, big air, small air, red air, blue air? And I have a sneaking suspicion, like most Class Cs with a layout like this, when we close the slide up for road mode, I think we're going to lose the bed, because I got it. That's a Camp Queen, and it's pretty much got to be a folding mattress to be able to close, since we have the bathroom over here. But before we get to take a look at that, let me actually climb over here in the headboard area of the bed, just to sort of give you the morning view, as it were. The wall over there, you see the TV hookups, but a more simple series coach. They don't tend to outfit these with a bedroom TV. Oh, by the way, there's some household and USB outlets right beside me here on the bed. Right over there. All right, now the corner bathroom over here is tight. If you are any bigger than me, it's going to be a bit of a trick. For instance, with that door closed, elbow room, knee room, it was just adequate for somebody of my size. If you are a larger individual, you may find this bathroom insufficient for your body size. And I try to give I'm not trying to be cute by taking toilet selfies. I don't think it's a fun thing to do. I'm trying to be informative with this. The shower, since we do step up in the back, the shower's all right. If you're 6 foot or less, you'll stand without your head in the bubble. If you're more than that, you're definitely going to need your head in the bubble. But, that's the kind of stuff where if you're just trying to, watch one of these videos and get an idea here, that's the information I want to provide for you. You notice there was just a mirror, so your medicine cabinet is over here. And I'm going to see if I can do this left-handed on camera. I'm not really a skilled lefty, but I don't believe this is the most complicated maneuver. That will make it very difficult to use the bathroom, but at the same time, otherwise, this coach has nearly no counter space. The other thing I noticed is this bathroom door kind of bonks the bed, but I don't know that that's really, it doesn't necessarily seem like a problem to me. And as suspected, in road mode you lose the bed, although it's still weirdly open and accessible back here if you want to get back to that little cabinet. I don't know why that would be beneficial, but it is nice and wide open. I was really worried when the bed closed at how the bathroom would interact, but that is just as good, if not better, as compared to when the slide is open. Now, spinning you around like a record, baby, nice and slowly. Looking at the living room here in traveling mode. Because once again, this is one of the major differences between a towable and a motorized RV. Towable RVs, sometimes you're going to make a travel stop and get inside there. Motorized RVs, you are always in here. And I wanted to put that table back so we could look at this in worst case scenario position. Obviously we can navigate our way right through here. Now, speaking of road mode, road trip. Now, I don't normally record and drive, but I am going to be on no major roads, and they have a lot of open territory here at our Eldridge, Iowa location, just north of Davenport. And I'm not gonna take this thing Baja, and basically I'm just moving it out of the mud where I can record the exterior a little bit nicer. But you don't usually get to see one of these things in motion. So, I just thought I'd do something a little bit different today. They have a massive facility here, by the way, and just incredible selection. Really down to earth people too. It's kind of refreshing. Now, as long as we're behind the wheel here, let me show you a couple things. We shift into reverse, and of course our backup camera kicks into place. Let me get back into drive. Then left-hand turn signal, and auto magically, like I said, we're looking down the left side of the rig, so you can see if some idiot named Josh the RV Nerd and his stupid Kia Soul is over there in your blind spot, preventing you from taking your exit, Cindy.
All right, so we're road tripping. We want to know how she handles, right? And handling to me, getting there in a motorhome, again, as important as being there. So one of the things that they've done up front is they have Sumo Spring front shock absorbers to soak up a lot of that road chatter when you're going down the road. Very nice in construction zones. You know the little rumble strips on the side of the road? And You know how a lot of construction zones make you drive over those things or make you drive on areas that really ain't made to be driven upon? Almost said drived upon. You know, I really need to go get caffeinated. Neither here nor there. It's early morning. You notice the sun's not even up. I got here early just to start jumping on this. Anyway, we are on a Ford E450 chassis. This has a 7,500 pound tow rating, which is nice. The Ford chassis does have a higher tow rating as compared to the Chevy chassis. This is one of the very few Freelander... You know, it just occurred to me, I never opened the slides back up. I apologize. I think we still get the idea. If this is a problem, let me know, and I will make sure to get that corrected in future videos. Right now, I'm gonna keep on rolling because I've got a lot on my schedule today. So like I said, if not opening up the outside slides is an issue, please report back to me on that. Now remember I talked about forward cab leaks in the past. That is one of the reasons they put that candy-coated nose cap on the front there, because they're moving the stress points, the seams, from an area of high stress to low stress. And as long as we're talking about like walls and construction and stuff, something Coachmen does in their motorhomes is they use Asdel in their walls. And I believe for 22, I know the towable segments went to double Asdel. I will have to do some digging to see if I can verify if motorized did the same thing. Now, you notice a couple of these baggage doors are not open. I guess leaving the slides closed made it a lot easier for me to get down here. That will be our 4,000 generator. You might be able to hear that humming a little bit. And I'm gonna get you a look into every one of these little compartments just because, you know, outside storage on a Class C is always tricky. I want you to get to see every little nook and cranny. Now those are metallic, which looks and feels very rugged. Depending on how rough you are loading cargo, you may ding and banging around a little bit, so kind of keep that in mind. I like that outside utility shower, although, now here's a funny thing. I don't like the idea that we have water above electrical, and manufacturers do that all the time, but also consider the fact, if you were at an RV park and it was raining like crazy and you were plugged in to power and cable, you also wouldn't think twice. A little bit of water dribbling down from that shower, frankly, is not a big deal. I get that it doesn't look and sound smart. Like, I understand that, but I also understand it's not really a problem. Now, since this is under a slide, normally when someone's not an idiot and forgets to leave the slide closed like me, this is a little trickier to get to, which is why I like how it has a drop-down door. But look how they gave us all these little sectionalized kind of molded buckets. So you got room for all kinds of different totes, outdoor picnic tables, all sorts of little fun things that you can get with this one, you know. Now, you notice how that passes around the backside as well? That actually is like basically storage all the way under the bed, which is kind of cool. We got to see our side view turn signals in there. We got to see the rear view camera activated a little bit. The taillights on this are nice and large, and I noticed the reverse element section of the taillights on this are huge. And where I like that is if you are backing into a campsite at night, it is going to cast a significant amount of light onto your campsite. Now, I really wanted to get the awning open for you today, but it is way too windy, and I don't feel like busting somebody's awning arm unnecessarily. I only break awning arms when it is necessary, ladies and gentlemen. That is my promise to you. Then you come over here, and you might be wondering, what the heck is that? Well, that is a cool little, like, outdoor picnic grilling utility station. It's a small thing, but it you know, it slides out basically like under the bathroom is where that's actually located. It's a cool use of space that otherwise would have got wasted. And right over here, that is where the gas grill quick connect propane cooker is located. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Now, we are prepped for roof solar. I'm gonna get you up there in a minute. You see over here next to the entry, there's also a side solar prep plug for a portable panel, but I wanna make sure I finish looking at all of the exterior storage compartments here before we jump upstairs. That is a pretty decent deep one. That is one of the major things that's going to be different on a Class C versus a Class A. There's just not as much space below the floor, basically, to create storage, whereas in a Class A, there's just bigger air gaps and you can have bigger cavities there, but it's also a bigger coach and a bigger budget. Now, up here on the roof, there's a couple things I want to show you. First of all, the vents that are powered vent fans, like the one over the forward cab and over the bed, those include max air vent covers, which is nice. The vents that are not powered vent fans do not include anything. And I just noticed that kitchen vent is slightly open. I gotta make sure I get that totally closed up. Oh, speaking of which, what I'm doing right now, going backwards on a roof like this, it's dangerous and stupid. I'm an experienced idiot and I still shouldn't be doing it. If you're up here cleaning, you know, and you're distracted by what's going on with your brush and you're looking at the roof, you should only try to move forward. Always have your head on a swivel up here. We are roof solar ready, and I gotta say, I know it's not hurting the RV. There is a little bit of sloppy sealant going on around here. Like, they've done a good job putting a nice heavy bead of sealant around, but I could tell they were moving pretty fast because the little sealant gun was still dribbling around here and there. Little stuff like that doesn't really hurt anything, but it sure doesn't look good. Like, I can totally acknowledge that. And again, I don't mind sharing the good with the bad. I try to be real about this thing because, you know, it's an expensive purchase, guys. Let's make sure you know what you're getting for your money. Now, also understand, we're looking at just one Freelander that may or may not be representative of every Freelander. That's why I always recommend, kind of like that shower. You got to come into our dressing room, you got to try these things on for size, and you got to see how they fit and how they feel, you know. So we made it, guys. Road trip and all that. I didn't get blown off the roof, but I had a good time. You know. I've always been more of a towable guy, but I definitely see the allure of this. The fact is, if you're going to be making like a cross-country trip, it is to me, it's very enjoyable in a motorhome as compared to a towable RV. When you're towing an RV, it still feels like work. When you're driving an RV, like I said, it just feels like a road trip. It feels like vacation, baby. And I think that's, you know, that's the big mental difference between the two of them for me. But that's just my take on it. Let me know what you think. If you like the fair way that we go about stuff, hit that subscribe button and like our video. And until next time, folks, take care, stay safe, have fun, and go bishing, everyone. Ah.